Okay, we're getting ready to foil wrap this knife for heat treatment. So foil wrapping is going to preserve all the finish we put on the knife to this point. We're dropping back to type 321, 321 heat treating foil for this grade of steel, and the temperatures we're going to be bringing the steel up to about 1475. So what you want is just get your blade clean, and it is. We're going to put that in there, center the knife in there, and there's no need for the talcum powder for this type steel at this temperature. It's when you get up around 2000 degrees that talc comes into play. So we're just going to close this up, and then we bring out to the edge of the workbench, and I just use the edge here to start forming my fold. So we just do a double fold here. Now you have to be mindful of where the edges of your knife are. If you don't want to run this crimper over that and tear your foil, or you have to start over again with another piece of foil. So I just take these pliers, and just run that fold all the way over and get a nice crease formed. And then we simply form another fold inside of this one. I grab about half of that, just about right there. And you just want to double fold, and that makes a good airtight seal. So I'm going to run this all the way down, and then we're going to do the same thing on each end of the knife, and it'll be foil wrapped, and we'll be getting it into the furnace. Alright, so that's what it should look like after you're done. You have a double fold on each end, and of course along this edge. And I always heat treat with my cutting edge facing up, and I'll lay it on the refractory. I have slots cut in. I just lay it down there like that, and then I will just grab it like this and come straight down into my quenching oil when it's been in there long enough. Alright, the knife is in the furnace, and it's going to come up to 1250 degrees, and it comes up rather slowly. And then we hold it 1250 for 25 minutes or so, 30, and that's a normalizing temperature. That's when all the stresses we put into the steel are taken out at that point, and then we're going to ramp up to 1475. Once we hit 1475, it's another hold at that temperature for another 25 minutes or so, at which point we're going to bring it out. And at that time, this oil here will have been brought up to about 185 degrees. And that's the quenching temperature to get O1 down to quickly. And then we're going to be going into a 2-hour draw at 475 degrees. Okay, the knife's been in there at critical temperature long enough, so it is ready to quench. There's a couple of key things about quenching. You don't want to linger between the furnace and the oil, and once you get it down in the oil, you insert it straight in, and then you need to move it and constantly move it all the time. It's bringing itself down in temperature. The oil right next to the steel is going to be superheated, so you're constantly flushing it past oil that isn't superheated. The idea is to get it down out of critical to around 185 degrees or so as quickly as possible. So here we go. Straight in, and then we're just moving it up, down, side to side. I'll reach over here and turn off my furnace. I generally do this for about 30 seconds. Alright. I'm going to wipe off this excess oil now. And then I'll see you over at the bench. We take this thing out of the foil and I'll show it to you. Okay. Let's cut this foil pack open and see what we have. There we are. Now see how clean that blade stayed? And that's what you want. The only difference I'm really noticing is that now it has that silvery look that it generally gets when it's been hardened. So then the little acid test is always just a file, and you can feel that skating feeling and hear that glassiness. This steel is very hard right now, and what we don't want it to do is cool down to room temperature. So I'm going to wrap it up in this, and then I'm going to carry it in there, and we're going to get it into the drawer where it's going to stay for the next 2 hours at 475 degrees. Now O1 only requires one draw at that temperature, and while that's happening, I'm going to put the oil away after it cools down, but I'm going to get started on these handle scales, and we're going to be getting this thing into epoxy later today.